Excellent.
Hello, I'm Riley Abel, a member of the League of Women Voters of Kitsap County. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization, so we don't support or oppose candidates. Our mission is to provide as much information to the community about the candidates and the issues before them. Today, we're interviewing the candidates that will appear on your primary ballot, which you should receive in the mail around mid-July. We're asking them 3 questions, and each candidate will have 90 seconds to answer the question. So let's get to know Michael Simonds. Michael, you have 90 seconds to introduce yourself and tell us why you chose to run for the office of Bremerton City Council, Position 3.
Hello, my name is Mike Simonds. I have been a resident of Bremerton since 2014. I moved out to the greater Kitsap area in 2012 as part of the Navy moving me out here. I used to work on submarines as a nuclear missile technician. Got out in 2017 and was invited to come join the Redfin Real Estate Company, where I became a real estate agent for the area, bringing kind of a Seattle-based company to the Kitsap area for the first time and using technology to kind of modernize the home buying experience. Came in really handy during the COVID era. And that got me involved in a lot of small businesses. I hang out in a lot of coffee shops, a lot of local restaurants and stuff like that. And I started talking to business owners and hearing what their problems are, hearing what they were struggling with, permits, mandatory updates, safety equipment changes, confusing regulations. And that made me start getting involved in the city council here in Bremerton and just kind of learning what I can do to help. From that, just kind of sprung this whole desire to get involved with the city council and the legislator and kind of help the city work a little bit better with my knowledge and expertise and background in construction, home building, and technology and data analytics. So it's kind of the best way to summarize me is I want to just modernize the way we do things for the city.
Thank you very much. So for our first question, if elected, what would be your top priorities as a city council member and how would you implement them?
Yeah, so recently, as in, I think it was like December of 2024, the county has changed its permitting system to a much more modern system that we can analyze, track, and just have a better faith in how the permits are getting processed and what the holdups are. And I would like to bring that to the city of Bremerton, very similar system, bring a tracking system, a data analytics system, so when you go in to put in a bathroom or something like that, you know it's going to take a month and not 6 months or 8 months or 9 months. Or when you submit a permit, it shouldn't go anywhere. So that's the first thing I would want to implement. The second thing is I want to look at a multi-process system for our homelessness, making sure that people are going to the places that are going to have the right resources for them. So if you need somebody detox, they're going to a detox center first before we're putting them in housing, and we're not housing them with somebody who is detoxed and sober, because you don't want an active user and a sober person being in the same room. I think there's many different ways we can look at that, but I think that right now the city is looking more towards a one-size-fits-all kind of program for homelessness, and I think that that's not the way that we should be doing it, and I would like to work with the city council to change that approach. And then the third thing is I just really would like to be a better mouthpiece for the city services. We have pool passes and wood shops and ice rinks and all this other stuff that people can use. And every time I tell people about like the Bremerton One app, nobody knows what it is. They haven't downloaded it. So I just want to be a better mouthpiece for what the city is providing for its citizens.
Thank you, Mike. All right, on to question number 2. How would you stimulate economic growth and employment diversity in the Bremerton area?
So the big way I'm going to look at economic growth is getting small businesses back into our downtown corridor and to our business development areas, right? So redeveloping the Harrison Heights neighborhood that is full of a bunch of empty medical buildings that haven't been rented out, finding a way to turn that into something else. Getting Quincy Square fully occupied, getting all of 4th Street and Pacific occupied, and extending down even further to 11th so that our downtown corridor is Burwell, Washington Ave, 4th, Pacific, 11th, just making sure that that's a tight-knit neighborhood instead of people just focusing on the corners of 4th and Pacific, where it seems to be all the activity is right now. There are other businesses down there, and I think that if we got the more occupied and got more services down there to help fix up some of those older buildings, that we could definitely build our tax base. And then employment diversity is going to be a lot of focus on the District 7 area of the Port of Washington airport area and that industrial business complex zone. That's going to be one of our biggest growing areas, and just finding businesses to come open their doors and build their facilities here. So that we not only have a retail and a restaurant industry, but we also have an industrial industry that it's going to help really increase our tax base, really increase the amount of jobs here so that we're not solely relying on just the shipyard for jobs in the future, but other opportunities as well.
Thank you. And your final question today. Housing prices are rising in Bremerton. What would be your role as a city council member in helping keep prices affordable and providing aid to anyone who currently does not have a home?
Yeah, so I'm a real estate agent, which means I get accused of a lot of really wild things. It's very fun. But it means I study housing. And the big thing I'm studying is middle housing. So building more duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, making those desirable houses to live in, building more townhouses, 6 flat condo buildings I'm a big fan of, where it's 3 apartments stacked on top of each other with a common corridor in between. I think that we've done a really good job kind of decreasing the parking minimums to make it a little bit cheaper for affordable housing, where you might be on a bus line or something like that, and you might not even be a car owner, you might be a bike rider. I think I want to continue that mission of being able to build these lower cost units, right? I don't like the term affordable housing because I feel like it's a little vague and nebulous, even though it has this like very hyper specific definition. So I use subsidized, attainable, aspirational, and luxury. And I think that if we went with those definitions, we could build more of those subsidized and more of those attainable. Attainable meaning that median, the means person in the neighborhood could earn that within the first couple years of employment. You know, somebody earning $60,000 a year should be able to afford a 2-bedroom or something like that. Whereas I think that the lack of building that we've had has caused just rippling crisis with the house prices.
Well, thank you. Thank you to Mike Simonds for running for office and sharing your views and just supporting our democracy. I'm Riley Abel, and on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Kitsap County, thank you for watching. Please share this video, and do not forget to send in your ballot no later than Tuesday, August 5th. Thank you.